Okay, thank you. And thank you to everyone. Good afternoon from Uganda. And presumably good evening to those who are in their evenings in their countries. It's a pleasure having all of you and welcome to this webinar meeting, our first and etc. Today, the webinar inclusive employment for persons with intellectual disabilities in Uganda. The webinar is one of a series of webinar meetings on inclusive employment for persons with intellectual disabilities, with 5 webinars in 5 countries. And we will be having webinar meetings from Bangladesh, Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, and today we're beginning with Uganda.
Russell 1 gets to all panelists,
Kind of next slide.
From Nathan Road.
Next slide. Yes, the webinar series is supported by Down Syndrome International and the International Disability Alliance. This work is funded by Inclusive Futures, a UK aid-funded consortium of 16 disability and development organizations led by Sightsavers, working to create a future that is inclusive of people with disabilities. Next slide. This webinar is focused on the inclusive employment of persons with intellectual disabilities in Uganda. It is led by Samuel Mugabi and other self-advocates with Down syndrome from Inclusion Uganda, or formerly known as Uganda Association for the Mentally Handicapped. Next slide. Yes. So in this meeting, the attendees do not have the ability to speak about the first one. Is you cannot say, you can say hi and make comments in the chat room. We encourage you really to say something in the chat room and etc. You can say something in the chat room. And then secondly, you can use the Q&A, the question and answer box, to ask our panelists a question. We will try to answer this during the session and etc. And then the other is, if anyone has a connection problem, kindly let us know, because besides Samuel and I, we have a team of staff who are trying to work on the connections. And then a recording of this session will be sent to all of the participants after we have the training and etc. So we will also be sending you a link to a short survey, or to try to get your feedback about the training and etc. So thank you. At this juncture, I would love to welcome Samuel to proceed with the presentation. Thank you. A nice listening and a nice presentation, Samuel.
From Yanni Chengara.
Hello everyone, I'm Kiria Moses. I'll be the support person for Mugabi Samuel. Yes, we would like to go to the first page. Back up. Sorry. Yes, Samuel.
What is Down syndrome? It is a genetic disorder caused when abnormal cell division results in extra genetic material from chromosome 21. This genetic disorder causes developmental and intellectual delays.
Yes, Samuel was explaining what Down syndrome is, and as he has stated it clearly, it's a genetic disorder. Let's go on the next slide.
Down syndrome cannot be cured, but early treatment programs can help improve speech, physical, occupational, and educational therapy. With treatment and support, persons with Down syndrome live happy and productive lives.
Yes, as Samuel is saying, Down syndrome cannot be treated, but someone's condition can be improved if there is early intervention, so that you can get a better speech, physical, and occupational and educational therapy, as he said. Yes, let's go on.
Employment.
Actually, we are here for employment. We as people with Down syndrome.
Employment. Employment is a state of having paid work. It can be formal or informal employment.
Yes, our dear employers, we are talking about employment in both sectors, formal and informal employment. Yes, let's continue.
To be employed, in most cases, requires qualifications.
As the trend goes, employment will require qualification at all times, but we believe that we can work if you're given chance. Let's go on.
We are successful in many careers and so are capable of being employed in different organizations. This is Ian repairing a car. He also paints cars and bikes. He is also the garage messenger and cleaner.
Yes, Ian in the photo you are seeing is one of our self-advocates with Down syndrome, but he's employed in the garage where he repairs the car, like he says, and painting bikes. Basically, he can do anything in the garage if he's given the support he needs.
This is Latifa.
Next.
She makes breakfast pancakes and mandas. She plants vegetables on a large scale. She also does poultry.
Yes, as he's saying, in our self-advocates groups, we have even Latifa, who is self-employed. He works at home, does various activities like making mandazi, pancakes, and even does some agriculture on the large scale, plus keeping poultry. Yes, let's go on.
We also have skills and experiences that could be useful in the place of work. I bake birthday cakes, queen cakes, daddies, and breakfast cookies. I paint welded windows and doors. I also do farm work.
Yes, this is the picture you're seeing is Samuel himself. He does different things. For example, baking. He also helps the brother in painting windows because his brother does metalworks and then does some farm work. As he said, we have experiences and skills we can share with employers if at all we are given chance, just like the statement says. So our experiences and skills can be useful at the employment places if at all we are given chance. Let's go on.
According to Article 27 of the CRPD, people with disabilities have the right to work on an equal basis with others. Therefore, we should also be given a chance to work freely in a work environment that is open, inclusive, and accessible.
Yes, Samuel here is talking about the rights that govern people with disability, the CRPD, particularly the Article 27. Yes, our dear employers, we have this CRPD. It comprises of 50 articles that govern us, and we are emphasizing the Article 27, which talks about employment, equal rights towards employment. And we are saying, if you are given chance, we can work, and we need an inclusive environment, and accessibility should be inclusive even at the workplace. Yes, thank you. Next.
However, we need additional support in the workplace.
Who supports you? Support.
My mother.
Yes, in the picture we are seeing Sam, as he said, is a baker, but he needs support now and again. So the picture shows the mother helping Sam, and the one we saw of Ian as we go on. Next slide. Yes, Ian is supported by his co-workers. So we need support in whatever we do so that we can give the given results that we need. Let's go on.
Salim getting support in the video library.
Yes, Salim is another self-advocate in our group that is employed, and he gets support from different people at the workplace. So in that picture, it shows Salim getting support from one of the co-workers at the library. Let's continue.
Who can support us? Fellow workers, employers, human resource managers, parents, other family members. Everyone needs support no matter who they are.
Yes, as he says, everyone can support us at the workplace, at home. When we are given chance for employment, employers can support us, fellow workers, our parents, family members. So we need support from everyone who can support us so that we can produce or give results than like expected. Yes, next.
What support is needed? Reasonable accommodation. This is an additional help given to a person with disability to enable them to perform their work. Equality at the workplace. Our work should be well defined at all times.
Yes, we hear the kind of support we need from the employers and our fellow workers is reasonable accommodation, like he stated it. If we are at a workplace, we need that additional support so that we can produce as expected. And then they should apply equity at work. We should all be equal, regardless the nature of our disabilities. And lastly, our work should be well defined. If you need employers, if you need something from us, tell us what you have to do so that we do that as expected, rather than us thinking what you need from us. So you should try and define exactly what we need or what is expected of us. Yes, let's go on.
Support needed. On-job training, assistance and support, accessibility to information, counseling, accessibility to health care.
Yes, we need different support even at the workplace. For example, on-job training, we need support from new employers. Counseling, you should try and counsel and guide us as well when you are at workplace. In case of any interference, let me say health-wise, we need accessibility to health services and accessibility to information. We can't do our work if we don't have the information we need when we are doing the activities that is expected from us. So we need the information to be accessible to us. Yes, let's continue.
Support. Giving the support we need, we can be successful at the workplace.
Like he said, if you are given the support we need, we can always be successful, regardless the nature of our disability. We just need support. Let's continue. Yeah, this is some of the self-advocates that are in this advocacy group, but we have different self-advocates in different areas with Down syndrome. Yes, let's continue.
Merits of hiring persons with Down syndrome are greater, diverse at the workplace, hence more ideas added in problem solving. Customers with disabilities get a sense of belonging. Tax incentives. Promotion of the culture of acceptance and awareness in the community.
Yes, when you hire us, people with Down syndrome, first and foremost, we get a sense of belonging. We as people with Down syndrome, we know we belong somewhere. Then if we are given chance to work, we know it can be something. And employers, there is even the tax incentive. In Uganda, this is an example of Uganda, the quota system. You hire people with a given number of people with disabilities. The government here has come out and said, no, we give you a tax incentive if at all you hire a given number of people with disabilities. And when you put us at work, more ideas will always come in, because you are not looking about only people who are without disability, but you are looking at an inclusive environment. That means problem solving will be easier at all times. Yes, and even lastly, we'll have awareness. People will get to know that even us, people with Down syndrome, can work, can live an independent life. So it's upon you, employers, to give us that chance so that people become aware that we exist and we are working, we can live an independent life. Yes, next slide.
Thank you for listening. Do you have any questions?
I think that's clear. If anyone has a question, like they had given you, they had told you, can always write in the question box or question A. So
Yes,
that's question, Samuel. Thank you.
yes, thanks,
Unless you have
Moses.
something to add. Yes.
Thanks a lot, Moses, and thanks a lot, Samuel, for the nice presentation. And Moses, thanks a lot for the good support you have given to him. And also, I would love to extend my appreciation to the participants, those who have joined us today. Thank you for giving us your time, and thanks for making us a priority in what you're doing today, and etc. As Samuel has said, questions are welcome. However, I will begin with a question in the Q&A. There's someone who asked and said, really, David said, Samuel says he bakes cakes, but does he have a documentation like certificates that he can present to employers or subcontractors?
I have a certificate.
Yes.
Okay, Samuel. When I prepare ganti also local cakes na document yonna.
I have a certificate.
Yes, as Samuel says, he has a certificate, and in our presentation, we show Samuel holding his certificate. I think it's around the third slide where we show Samuel takes a picture with his certificate after graduation. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Maybe, hello, Nathan.
Hi, there's
Hello,
another
Nathan.
2 questions on there.
Yes, maybe Nathan, you'll help me maybe read it out, because I'm finding it a little difficult to see it well.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
So the next question, we have a question from Katrina saying, do people with Down syndrome get paid the same wage as other people with disabilities, or people without disabilities, sorry?
Come again, someone. Nathan?
So the question was, do people with Down syndrome get paid the same wage as people without disabilities?
Sam, kibuuzo kikyo.
No.
Yes, actually, with the experience we've got, employers sometimes tend to exploit people with Down syndrome, and they are paid less. This is something we are trying to work upon as individually, as organization, and the government of Uganda as well, to see that there's equal pay of all workers regardless the nature of the disability. But in actual sense, right now, most cases, people with Down syndrome are not paid equally, just like any other person. Yes, thank you, Katarina.
Thank you. So we've got another question. If anyone else has a question and you'd like answered, then if you just go in the Q&A section, you can type your question, and then I will read it out and Samuel can answer live. So feel free to ask away with any questions you have. So just the next one is from Mark. Mark said, thanks for the great presentation. One of the things I observed is that lots of the people were working with arts and crafts, agriculture and hospitality. Before employment, how was initial life skill training conducted? Thanks for the great work, Samuel.
Okay. Babuuza
First, Chicago to everyone. Cold, thank you so much, Sam. You are really great. If I want to buy the product, how do I get it?
sooka otubuulire gye wasomera ne certificate gye wagifunira.
Our Lady. I went to school. Vocational school. Our Lady of Consolata Vocational Training School.
Yes, Mark. Samuel is saying, yes, many children or people with Down syndrome have resorted to hospitality work and agriculture, but for him, he went to a vocational training school where he learned how to make cakes, and then he got a certificate as well. A school known as Our Lady Consortium. Our Lady of what school?
Our Lady of Consolata Vocational Training School.
Our Lady of Consolata Vocational Training School. Yes, there are schools that are inclusive, and we should try and take children, or employers should try and see that even as if we are given a chance to go to schools, then afterwards we should try and give us the employment that we need. Yeah, Samuel is qualified just like we saw earlier. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Samuel. So we've got another question from Dorothy, who said, thank you so much, Samuel, you're doing great. If I want to buy the products, how do I get it?
Bakubuuza oyagala kugula ebintu by'okola abalugula cakes babifuna batya?
I make orders. We make orders. Chirinya.
Samuel is located in Chirinya. You can always make orders. Actually, as per now, Samuel has a phone, but is not conversant with this number. But you can pass through Inclusion Uganda. We can link you to Samuel. Yes, and you get any product with bakery products you need through Inclusion Uganda.
Brilliant, thank you. So we've got another question from Abu Bakar saying, do we have a similar organization operating here in Sierra Leone, which some of us can help support and help people with Down syndrome? So that might be easier for me to answer. So we have a list of our organizations on our website, on the Down Syndrome International website. But I'll put my email in the chat, and if you send me an email, I can put you in touch with anyone that we know in Sierra Leone. I don't know from memory if we have an organization there, but we can certainly put you in touch with one if we do have an organization. So we had another question from Sarah, who said, I would just like to confirm if people with Down syndrome can be trusted to work with large sums of money, because in my area of work, we deal with money transactions and we need a lot of attention to avoid losses. So maybe, Samuel, what do you think about that one?
Babuzize ekibuuzo nti musobola okukola ne ssente nnyingi bazikuwa.
Yes. Twetaaga support.
Samuel is saying yes, but he put this in our local language, but he said we need support. Twetaaga support, but we can work anywhere. But we need your support.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Samuel. We've got more questions coming in, lots of questions, which is nice. We had another question from Astrid, who said, thanks for the presentation. What would be your message to international NGOs working in inclusive employment to ensure the inclusion of persons with Down syndrome?
Bakubuuza information kyoba kinkyonza okugamba ebibiina ebirala ebikola ku bantu ababiko obulemu siba nayo abikola bitya okukola kino. Bakola ekyokulaba ebibiina ebirala zakola ki.
They have to take them to school. They have to train them.
Okay, that's all.
Yes.
Yes, Samuel is saying these organizations should encourage parents to take the children to school so that they acquire the basic education. And then after that, they should train them on hands-on trainings so that they know what best they can do or produce in their lives. So they should try and put them in vocational schools and then even train them, having trainings. These trainings can even apply to employers just like you people, so that the employers in different areas know that people with Down syndrome exist and they are willing to work. Thank you.
Thank you. So we've got two quite similar questions from Nashita in Indonesia and from Patience. So they said, thank you, Samuel, for the enlightening presentation. How many hours do people with Down syndrome normally work in a day, and is it the same as everyone else?
Ekibuuzo kiri nti bw'oba okola so otwala obudde bwekati era owummulamu ddi oba okola ng'omuntu omulala.
3 hours. 4 hours to 3 hours.
Some says 3 to 4 hours of working. But you need to rest every time you feel like you work. For example, for him, when he's biking, he does an activity, then rests, then does the next activity. So 3 to 4 hours. Yes.
Thank you. So we've just got one more question. I don't know if anyone has any more, then feel free to add them. So this, I can't see the name on this one, but it says, I've had many parents with children with Down syndrome ask if there is a school they can enroll their children. Do you have any recommendations? I'm assuming this is in Uganda because it doesn't say a country, but do you have any recommendations of where people can go to school?
Vocation training schools.
Primary. To learn how to write.
Okay, Sam is saying you should take your children to primary schools, all primary schools, so that they learn how to read and write, and then you may take them to vocational training schools where they learn hands-on activities, just like you learn bakery. But first you have to take them to any primary school so that they learn how to read, write, and then you may advance in another school. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think that brings us to the end of the Q&A section. Maybe I can ask one question of my own. Do you have any final message, Samuel, for employers or people who might be interested in employing people with Down syndrome? Do you have anything you would say to them?
They should treat us like others.
Yeah, I think that's clear. He's saying they should treat us just like any other person at the workplace.
Fantastic, thank you, Samuel. That's a great message, being treated the same as everyone else. Brilliant, thank you. I'm going to pass back to Simon now.
Yes, Nathan, thanks a lot for
remarks.
Nathan, thanks a lot for the support and for helping me fill out the questions and even answering live and etc. One is I would love to thank Samuel for ably answering the questions very well, and thanks a lot to Moses for supporting him. One, just as Samuel has ended, I would also love to make a plea and a call to everyone to give chance and an opportunity to people with Down syndrome to be employed, to have a decent life. They are able, when given a chance, and they can do work. Only what they need, as Samuel ably said, they need reasonable support and reasonable accommodation and etc. And then I just want to make a clarification. When you heard Samuel say a number of times UNCRPD, he meant the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, and it is an international legislation law that Uganda as a country we have ratified and etc. And in that law, it's where we get what we're talking today, Article 27, which Samuel has ably said in his presentation and etc. And so persons with Down syndrome can do both formal and informal jobs, formal and informal employment, just like Samuel himself. He bakes cakes that would be informal, and formally he is employed with us, Down Syndrome International, and he's the one, as you have seen, he's the one who has been running this campaign, talking to employers, rallying his colleagues, persons with Down syndrome, doing a lot. So when you give them chance, they can do and demonstrate what they are able to do, and etc. And then the other is the time is short and etc. But we could chat and share a lot of information. So my request is, if you need any information and guidance, kindly follow us, Down Syndrome International, on our website. We will feel free to answer you and give you feedback as you ask and etc. And also contact us here in Uganda, Inclusion Uganda, and me personally, I'm here at Ad International and etc. So we can always be at your service in case you need any information and etc. And finally, I would like to thank everyone for sparing your time, putting us as priority in today's activities that you might have had in your table and etc. We highly appreciate that as Down Syndrome International, as Inclusion Uganda, and as Samuel and the team. We are really very grateful to you. And kindly don't leave before helping us to fill a feedback, what we sent our survey that we shared out with you. It will help us a lot improve on what we are doing. We're very grateful and we thank you all. We will share, as I said earlier on, we're going to share the recording of everything that we have had with Samuel and even your questions. So thank you to everyone. And throughout this week and next week, on the 25th, we shall be having another meeting. Webinar meeting. I encourage you to kindly join us again on the 28th, 29th, and 30th. We have other webinar meetings on those days. So again, we will share a registration link. Kindly join us again. So thank you, and thank you to everyone.